The principle, we have talked about it several times, Sat, Chit, Ananda. That principle, sometimes we cannot understand it. We need a model, we need a form, so we make a personal God out of it. But today I will be referencing few couplets from the Hanuman Chalisa. This whole journey is going from instinctual to intentional. You have to understand what is the mind and the basic nature of the mind. In the Vedantic philosophy, there is only one instruction, and it says, come to me. All the power is inside. The God is sitting very close in your heart, but we look for it outside. That's why it says, come to me, come within. Don't look for it outside. I'm sitting right here in your heart as the observer, as the witness. You think that a thought comes to your mind, but that thought is actually triggered by your memory. Why we think one is good and bad? Why we think one is right and wrong? Once we master these two, what is mastering? Just being aware. Detached observer, detached witness. By surrendering to this Lord, you will have no trouble. You can rest assured that all your problems will be solved. You may not get what you want, but you will get what you need. How do you come to that God? How do you connect with that God? So there are three ways. It says Ananya Chinta, Ananya Bhakti, and Ananya Yoga. Sometimes you first lose and it looks like that God did not listen to you, but if you have that Ananya Bhakti, you will know sooner or later that it was done for your best interest and you will get something in return. Gyarva Rudra Avatar is the sign of a mastered mind. He is an avatar of Rudra. We have mastered 11 things. What are those 11 things? I am the Shrishti Sthiti Pralaya. I am the creator, sustainer, and the one that dissolves. Understanding that there is always a choice and you have perfect or 100% control over your intention, but not over the result. So all you can focus on is your intention. Now we have the 7 modules talk extensively about Hanumanji. Now let's come down to the psychology and how to understand and apply that. So today is the second session of the Advanced Hanuman Mind Mastery Workshop. And I want to talk about decision making, which is, we think that most of us, when we have not trained our mind, we feel that a certain decision is foregone conclusion. That is how it is supposed to be. We have to bring awareness. This whole journey is going from instinctual to intentional, and understanding that there is always a choice and you have perfect or 100% control over your intention, but not over the result. So all you can focus on is your intention. And understanding that once you're aware that Sukham concept, the Su is auspicious, Kham is that mental space to encompass and accommodate every point of view before you decide. And also, most people trip over the concept of judging and being judgmental. We need to judge that right and wrong is a function of the mind. Unless we know what is right and wrong at any given point of time, based on our current level of awareness, you cannot move forward. But judgmental, that if I am whatever I judge is right, what others judge is wrong, that is very different from being able to judge. And that is the function of the buddhi, the intellect. And to understand that, I will remind you maybe several times that the mind, in common parlance, we just say the mind, not understanding that the mind we can slice the mind into many, many categories and states based on its functions and other things. Last time we discussed about the 3 minds. The animal mind, which is called the reptilian brain, then we called the limbic brain, and then the neocortex. Today we are going to look at the mind from a different perspective, 4 kinds of functions that it does. So we are going to talk in Vedic philosophy, it's called Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. You must understand this. Maybe it's a concept you're being introduced to for the first time, but the more you reflect and learn and think about it, the more you will realize these are stages and each of them has its own function. We cannot eliminate any of these, but being understanding which state we are in and accordingly acting from there. So we'll go from the gross to the subtle. The gross is manas, what we normally call the information that the senses are giving us. This is blue, this is a man, this is cold, that is America, this is India. The information and it is called feelings. These are just thoughts that are coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. That is the manas. On top of that, the manas can be controlled by buddhi, the intellect, which is I like red color, I don't like blue color. I like cold, I don't like hot. That deterministic ability is the buddhi. Now, when you don't bring awareness to it, it is conditioned. So you think that, oh, my religion is better than somebody's religion. My country is better than somebody's country. My idea is better than somebody's idea. Unless you train it, this deterministic thing happens automatically, instinctually. So understanding this is where the judgment happens. Judgment is not bad. Being judgmental is bad. And you must make a distinction between that. Without judgment, all the colors are coming. Which color will you choose? All the foods are placed. Which food will you choose? All the destinations are there. Which destination will you choose? That ability to choose is the buddhi, the intellect. So manas, buddhi. And we have been talking about it. The charioteer is the buddhi. The reins in that of the horse is the manas. And the horses are the indriyas, the sense organs. Now, what controls the buddhi? We think we have a choice. If you don't bring attention, manas, buddhi, chitta. Chitta is the reservoir of all the impressions that your mind has gathered. This complex mind complex that is called manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. It has a reservoir. Not just now, not just this lifetime, but for thousands of lifetimes. Whatever you have thought and believed and acted and been exposed to is part of that reservoir. Now, if you don't bring awareness to the fact that you have a reservoir, you think that a thought comes to your mind, but that thought is actually triggered by your memory. You're not aware of that memory. So chitta is the reservoir of information, right and wrong, good and bad, for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And then comes the most subtlest form of the mind, which is ahankara, which we called ego, which is the Hanuman archetype. That aham, akar. Aham is me and mine, akar, the form of me and mine. I am better, my family is better, my views are better, my country is better, my religion is better, my decisions are better, that. Or aham, kara, what I do. Kara is karma, activities. So that individuality, possessiveness, that me and mine, and the entire Mahabharata is that. When Dhritarashtra says that the fight between me and mine, between me and my brother's family. So this ahankara is the root cause of all our miseries, and it is the part that once we control actually makes our this is called mind mastery, when you control your ahankara. In Ramayana, that was embodied and symbolized by Ravana, and in Mahabharata, it was symbolized by Duryodhana. Whatever I want, I'm going to get whatever I want. Same with Ravana. And both of these, mind you, were not weak people, very powerful people. So our mind, our ahankara is very powerful. So understanding that we have a manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Ordinary people with no level of austerity and planning and mastery, the last two is impossible to access. You must access through mind and buddhi. That is what is little available to you, little easier. You cannot access your chitta, your memories from other lifetimes. That's why when we do a divination session, whether it is through astrology or whether it is through tarot or whether it is through anything else, we access memories, what is called Akashic records. That is driving you and you're not even aware. Like Carl Jung said, unless you make your unconscious conscious, it will drive you and you will call it fate. So this mind mastery, we are only attempting to bring attention to our manas, the thoughts coming and going, incessant thoughts coming and going, and maybe with practice, access the intellect. Why we think one is good and bad? Why we think one is right and wrong? Once we master these two, what is mastering? Just being aware, detached observer, detached witness. And then you will slowly start accessing your chitta, which is the reservoir. And when you keep doing action through karma yoga, doing the actions, then it will slowly clean out your chitta. Chitta is the coding. And as long as the chitta is working, the coding is working in your mind, you really never have complete freedom over your thoughts and your actions and your decisions. So bringing conscious, remember, we have a reptilian brain, subconscious, we have limbic brain, which is your conscious mind, and we have a neocortex, superconscious. And also bring this, we have a manas, continuous thoughts, buddhi, deterministic ability, chitta, reservoirs, the coding based on which we are deciding, and ahankara, the possessiveness, that I. And once you're aware of that I, you are close to that Hanuman archetype. How you do, because I is necessary to be born and to function in the world, you need a I. But being aware that I'm doing it from my point of view, and that I am not necessarily always right. There are 3 levels of truth. Absolute truth, where everybody and everything is same. Transactional truth, there are at least 2 points of view, if not many. When I'm interacting with something, I must not assume that I am always right, the other person is always wrong. And third, your personal truth, your personality creates your personal reality. What is your personality? Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, becoming aware of that. So today we are going to deal with decision making. How do we make decisions based on a mastered mind instead of a mind that being a slave to the mind, and understanding that we always have a choice, always have a choice. We may think we don't, because we have allowed ourselves, we have cornered ourselves, painted ourselves to a corner. We think we don't have a choice, but that itself is a choice. So decision making, the first point I want to talk about is decision making based on your intellect, your buddhi. So always there is going to be this pull and push between your manas and your buddhi, your mind and your intellect. Mind is the emotions, limbic brain. Intellect is your neocortex. So right and wrong, the manas is, I like this, I don't like this. Buddhi is, this is right, this is wrong, as per your level of. So always make a decision whenever there is a clash between I like this, I don't like this, versus I should do this and I should not do this, based on your intellect. Always go with your intellect. And in Kathopanishads, these words are called prayas and shreyas and prayers. Prayers is something that gives you pleasure, P for pleasure. Remember, shreyas is something that gives you satisfaction for a long time, the right thing to do versus what I feel like doing. So whenever you follow your feelings, I don't like this person, I don't like this food, I don't like this subject, I don't like that, what happens is a limbic hijack. Unless you have trained your intellect, your mind will always pull you out into the ping pong between I like this, I don't like this. And last time we discussed at length why that is not the most efficacious or beneficial to us. So become aware of your limbic hijack. If your intellect is not developed, you will always make decision based on I like this person, I don't like this person, I like this country, I don't like this country, I like that company or job or work and I don't like it. So because if you listen to your mind, you are caught between likes and aversions, and it paralyzes your intellect. And if your intellect is paralyzed, you're bound to go out into the outside world, Vishananda. That is, you're controlled by your senses. You become a slave to what you like and don't like. In the Vedic philosophy, they bring this analogy between dharma and raga, attachment. Dharma is the intellect, the right thing to do. We all know what is the right thing to do. We may choose to ignore it. And based on attachment, raga, which we went into great detail last time. Because when we decide on raga, we like this or don't like this, what happens is when the attachment is strong, the intellect is very, very weak. You don't know what is right and wrong. But before we go to that, let me not skip a step, dharma and raga. In the Vedantic concept, there is this concept of Bhishma, and there is this concept of Duryodhana, archetypes of Bhishma, Duryodhana, and Arjuna. Bhishma is the one who always does what he thinks he's supposed to do, but no emotional attachment to anything. That's why he was able to give up his kingdom, able to do up everything without understanding the consequences. Duryodhana, on the other hand, only based his decisions on raga. I like this, I like this, I like this, I want this, I want this. Most of us fall into the category of Arjuna, where we have some dharma and some raga. And we talked about it, the Surashya Dhara. It is the razor's edge. Because both we need. We need little bit of raga, we need a lot of dharma, but we can't do one at the cost of the other. So how to manage that? Because going through life, navigating life based on dharma and what we like. And the like is definitely based on your swadharma. Now, we have to bring attention when we're talking about intellect between action and intention. When the intellect is not trained, when it is not activated, what do? We we judge other people's behavior based on their action, but we judge our behavior based on our intention. What does that mean? Oh, that person acted like this. Even if you try to explain that maybe he didn't intend it, no, he acted this way, so he must be, must not have the best intention. But when we do something wrong, we say, but my intention was not that. We give ourselves a exit route saying our intention was good, our actions may be bad. What you must do is flip it. If you don't flip it, you cannot master your mind. Always make decisions or judge based on other person's intention and your action. Irrespective of my intention, how can my action be interpreted by the other person? And forget about the action of the other person. Try to understand their intention through your communication. Find out, did you intend this? Or because this is looking very bad to me, I'm feeling very bad. Did you intend it? So how to communicate is a different topic, of course. So bring to mind action versus intention. Next comes, when we are attached to somebody, this raga, it colors our perception. We don't see reality, we see our perception of reality. So where attachment is thick, fault becomes thin. If you attach to somebody, you will never see their faults. And where attachment is thin, if you don't like somebody, everything they do, you will find a fault. So bring awareness why raga is difficult and how you must step back and be a detached observer, detached witness. So next one is telescope and microscope. I'm giving you these various ways of looking at our behavior and other people's behavior. Something will stick with you. Action and intention is similar to microscope and telescope. When we are looking at other people's problems, when we don't like somebody, or even when we like somebody, when we are looking at other people's actions, we use a microscope. Every little mistake they make, we say, there you see, they're wrong. And when it comes to us, we use a telescope. So that long distance, we're not able to see any of our problems. That is why a coach, a guru, or a mentor is so essential, because we are not able to see our own blind spots. So turning it around again, use a microscope to analyze your actions and intentions, and use a telescope to analyze other people's actions and intentions. That is another analogy. So understand that whatever you follow or give energy to becomes stronger. Now, if you keep on assuaging your mind, I like this, I don't like this, the raga, there will come, instead of, I know I should not do this, I know I should not be impatient, I know I should not be jealous, I know I should not be angry, and yet I feel like it, I'm justified, because the human mind is a exceptionally rationalizing instrument. We can rationalize anything. So what happens is, after a while, the mind will become a monster. You cannot control it because you have given it so much energy at the cost of your intellect, at the cost of shares, at the cost of what is right and wrong. And so it becomes a monster that you cannot control. Be aware that the more you indulge your likes and dislikes, the more the mind becomes empowered and becomes a monster. And there will come a point that you will not be able to control it anymore. Your coding will be so strong that your intellect will think what you like is good. There's a common thing, follow your heart. You don't understand what follow your heart means. Follow your heart is not just likes and dislikes. Follow your heart means the intellect and the mind should be together. So what you like must also be the good thing, because there are 4 situations. What you like is not good. That is one situation. What you dislike, you want. And then understanding that what you like is also should be the right thing to do. To come to that state, that is called follow your heart. Knowing this is the right thing, and through cognitive reframing, making yourself believe and be persuaded that this feels good, this is right. So that is what comes to whatever you like is also good for you. That is the journey. That is the goal. Not just whatever I like. Then you are caught in that raga, likes and dislikes. Follow your heart, we talked about that. Now, we talked about decision making based on your intellect. Whenever there is a conflict between manas and buddhi, make a decision based on your intellect. Buddhi, your level of awareness, what is right and wrong versus what I like and dislike. Follow what is right and wrong, whatever you have understood, knowing that continuously you have to upgrade what is right and wrong, because a child's right and wrong is not the same as an adult's right and wrong. Now, decision making based on the roles we play in society. This is a very, very important concept. We must fulfill the responsibilities of a higher role. The decisions must honor the responsibility of a higher role. Now, in a society, we are a mother, we are a sister, we are, in a personal capacity, then we are a CEO of a company, or we are the leader of a country. So we must be, or we are a judge. We must be aware that there is a lower role and a higher role. The lower role always satisfies what I like and dislike. The higher role always satisfies what is right and wrong. For instance, imagine if you are a teacher and your child is going to the same school and you are evaluating his or her exam paper, answer paper, and has done some mistake. Now, are you going to correct as a mother or as a teacher? You can recognize the handwriting or whatever of your child. That you are here faced between, should I grade based on my mother, based as a mother or a father, knowing that if I give good grades, he'll go into a good college, or as a teacher. Similarly, it may seem simple, but every day we make these decisions. Suppose a judge. Now we understand that forgiveness is a great concept. But if a judge sees his own child as a defendant and says to err is human, to forgive is divine, and I will forgive my son. Now, what role did you satisfy? Your personal lower role as a father or a mother, not as a judge. So becoming aware, and this concept is beautifully brought out in Mahabharata and Ramayana. The difference between the decision Bhishma took and the decision Lord Ram took. Bhishma, when when his father, he was in love with a woman who made some ridiculous claims, and he was so sad. Bhishma, who was prepared not just by his father, but by the gods, by Ganga herself, to be the heir apparent, the crown prince of Hastinapur, he was trained for that job. What did he choose to do? He followed the role responsibility as a son. My father is sad. Whatever he wants, I'm going to give it to him. He forgot his role, that he is the heir apparent, the crown prince, and that is not a personal role. You are not a king because you feel like being a king and you enjoy being a king. You are given a responsibility. The whole kingdom sacrifices a lot, because when the time comes, you will sacrifice your personal happiness for the kingdom. But he did not do that. What did he do? He sacrificed his role. He thought it was a great sacrifice, and it was at a personal level. And he put on the crown his step brothers who were incapable. And that was the root, the seed of the Mahabharata. Because such a big kingdom, when you put in, if you make somebody a president or the CEO of company, when they're not prepared for it, it's disaster for everybody. Whereas what did Lord Ram do? When Sita came back, he was convinced she had given her innocence through the test of fire. He loved her and he was convinced that she was pure. But his role was establishing the rule of law in those times. We're talking about millennia ago. And the rule that time was that if a woman stays in a married woman stays in another man's house, he cannot come back to the house, because they were coming out of the rule of the jungle versus rule of the law. And so far less a woman, a queen. She's supposed to be the role model. So when Ram heard murmurings from the people that why should we behave like that? What rule of law? If Ram himself wants to bring his wife, he makes a law and then he breaks the law. And he says, I know my wife is innocent. We all know that. So he made a personal sacrifice. He said, I love Sita. And we know he loved Sita because he was entitled to marry anybody and everybody. He could have had 100 wives, but he never chose another wife. He said, because I've made this rule, and let us not judge the rule. The rule was done in a different context. That if a woman stays in another man's house, cannot come back as a wife, let alone a queen. So he sacrificed his personal happiness for Ramarajya. There was happiness. So people said, okay, if you make a rule, we will follow the rule because you followed your rule. Now in modern society, what do? If we are a leader of a company or leader of a country, we say we make these rules about financial transactions. But if there is any suspicion about money laundering or anything, we know my son is okay. We know my wife is okay. We know my husband. How do you know? The people don't perceive it that way. So bringing this concept of lower role and higher role. And also we can bring this to any situation. Let's, for instance, during COVID, a only child of of parents, if his duty is towards his parents, that is his lower role. His duty as a doctor is a higher role because it impacts a lot more people. Now during COVID, he'll say, I won't go and treat anybody because if I die, what will happen to my parents? So what are you doing? You are making a decision based on your lower role. Same with the soldier. So these are the things you have to keep in mind. Decision making based on the roles we play in society. If you want to master your mind, fulfill the responsibilities of the bigger role. And then decision making based on the beneficiary. Who will be the beneficiary of this decision? And always you have to, this concept is the Kshatriya concept. We have talked about the Varnas in other workshops. The Shudra Varna, this is our inclinations, is when we are helpless. All we can do is take care of ourselves. If we can take care of ourselves, we have done our duty to the society. Then comes the Vaishya, wealth creation, not just for ourselves, but for everybody. Then comes the Kshatriyas, uphold the values of a culture and a country and a time. And then the Brahmin in pursuit of the higher reality. So I will also give you a very quick, reference to Parsurama, one of the avatars of Lord Vishnu, where the Parasu is an axe, Rama is the inner bliss, right? So through violence, getting inner bliss. Violence meaning what? We think immediately killing for the sake of killing. No, Kshatriya quality is the quality that protects not just others, but ourselves. We take decisions to protect our body, protect our mind, protect our intellect. Parsurama killed 21 times and finished all the Kshatriyas. Now, without going deep into the story, let me tell you, we have 3 levels: body, mind, and intellect. And at each of them, the 7 chakras are functioning. So 3 times 7 is 21. So what you do, you remove all the protective barriers you've kept to protect your body, your mind, and your intellect. Your decisions must be based on highest good for highest number of people. But normally our decisions are based on that, what would protect our body, what would protect our mind, and what would protect our intellect. Now, let me tell you, these are not easy lower level concepts. None of us are ready for this, but at least we know this is a goal to aspire for. If you want mind mastery, that is what Hanumanji was able to do. Everything that he did not care about his body, he did not care about his mind, he did not care about his intellect. He did that which served the highest number of people, highest good for highest number of people. So in Vedas, Vedic philosophy, it's called Vyashti versus Shamasti. Individual benefit versus collective benefit. Always, always your decision, if you want to master your mind and you want it to come back and help you, take a decision that will benefit the collective rather than the individual. And we sometimes feel that what's the big deal? I mean, we are not going to make everybody's corrupt. If I'm very honest, how will it impact? You don't worry about the ultimate result. There is a bigger power handling that. If each one of us took care of being that I'm just going to be pure and proper, forget about what others are doing. There will be no corruption. It's because we are basing it on what we need rather than what will benefit the society or the collective. We know that if you are not corrupt, it will benefit the society, but we come up with a brilliant rationalization. Everybody is corrupt, so why can't we be corrupt? So not how will it benefit me? I will do my job, what I think is right, shreyas, not prayers, and leave the results to the universe. And one example that you can take from Ramayana is that when they were building that bridge from India to Sri Lanka, that is still, Lanka, there was this, everybody was doing their best. Hanumanji, of course, the highest, and then all the Vanaras and all the bears and everybody. There was a little squirrel, and he or it wanted to help this effort, the collective effort. What could it do? It couldn't pick up the stones. So it would go dip itself in the waters, come back and roll in the sand, and whatever sand his body could pick up, he will go and put it into the bridge. Did you think he thought that he's going to build the bridge? But he did his part, and that has been given to us, that you do your part. No matter how insignificant it seems, you do your part. The rest will be taken care of by a bigger power. Another example is in our own body. Every organ has its own role. The eyes, the nose, the mouth, the brain, the heart, the hands, the legs, everything. But whenever you see, instinctually also we are wired like that. When a stone is coming towards our head, what do? We immediately protect our head with our hands. Why? You don't think the hands will get hurt? The hands could break. Even when we fall, we protect our fall with our hands. Why? Because the brain handles the collective. So to protect the collective, the individual organs will come in and take the fall. We have to do that at the family level. To protect the family, take the fall personally. To protect the community, take the fall personally. To protect the company, take the fall personally. To protect the country, to protect the world, what can you do? Focus on that decision making. Now, next one is, this also is can be translated into the team spirit. In a family, there is a team. In a community, there is a team. In a country, and so on and so forth. In sports, many times we are the undisputed hero of the team. But all the time, if you think about your name and fame and your scorecard, then the team never wins. But when you sacrifice that, oh, I can get a goal and I can get this, but the team will lose, but another team member will get all the glory. I will be the one assisting that team member, but my name will not be written in the newspaper. But being able to sacrifice your name and fame for the greater good, vyashti versus samashti, individual versus the collective. Always choose for the collective. It may not look and feel good at the moment, but mind mastery is about you were able to do the right thing, right? So this is called yagya spirit, spirit of sacrifice, offering oneself for the welfare of the collective at every level, at the family level, at the body level. We saw the hands will sacrifice for the brain, the parents will sacrifice for the children will sacrifice for the parents, and so on and so forth. You can take that example any which way. Now, fourth one is, first we talked about what? We talked about decision making based on intellect versus the mind we want to do. Shreyas and prayers. Second, we said in decision making based on the roles we play in society. Always fulfill the responsibilities of the higher role versus the lower role. Third is decision making based on the beneficiary, highest good for the highest number of people. Fourth one is decision making based on one's swadharma. This is a core concept, swadharma, in all Vedic things, and it will pervade every discussion. So swadharma has no proper translation in English, because English is a very commercial language, not a very spiritual language. Your nature and inclination, and we talked about the varnas, Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana. If your nature is that your mental awareness is that just protect myself without being a hindrance to society, if I can only manage myself, I've done my role. Or little higher, the Vaishya, can I create abundance for others? That you must follow. We talked about the Black Lives Matters, and then Kshatriya protecting others, and Brahmanas in search of the reality. So animals are not confused. You know why? Because they have no choice. They will behave according to their swadharma. Cattle will eat grass no matter how hungry. If you throw meat, it will not eat. A lion will eat meat, even its own kinds it will eat, because that is their swadharma. They have no choice. Human being, that's why we come out of the pashu quality. The animalistic tendencies, that's what it's called, tendencies. They cannot go against their instinct. But when human beings, that's where the problem starts, because we have a choice. We can do the higher or the lower. And that is what we talked last time about the freedom, not freedom for what I want to do, that is instinctual, but freedom from me, from my mind, from the tyranny of my mind. That is the true freedom. So it's called also a monkey mind, agitated, constantly moving. Once you know what is right, we can't stick to it. And copying others, swadharma versus paradharma. I am a wealth creator, but I will look at a politician or a kshatriya, I want name and fame. Or I am a brahmana in search of my tendencies, my swadharma is in search of the greater wisdom, whether it is science or philosophy or spirituality, doesn't matter, but I want money, I want name and fame. So this, if you do, your decisions will be tainted. Understanding your Swadharma. Now, don't ask me, how do I know my Swadharma? In a 5-minute session like this, nobody can tell you what is your Swadharma. But an indication is what I like, even when something that I'm naturally attracted to. And even if you're not paid, and even if difficulties come, and if nobody recognizes you, nobody gives you any acknowledgement, would you still do it? Because we are closet painters, closet singers, closet dancers, closet this, closet that. That is your Swadharma. But we have clothed it all with money making, name and fame, money making. We have made money making Vaishya as the common Swadharma for everybody in today's world. Not understanding an artist can never be a Swadharmist. Artist cannot be a Kshatriya. Artist cannot be a Brahmin. Meaning totally. There are combinations of this. Nobody is totally a Vaishya, totally a this, but predominantly. So understanding, or a Brahmana, you are a teacher. Now don't worry about where the money will come from. You will have enough. You focus on your study. So decisions based on that Black Lives Matter, we talked about it. Decision based on your Swadharma, not allowing the monkey mind to determine that. And how do you know you're following Swadharma? A sense of fulfillment. Suppose you're a Kshatriya and you've just written a check for the Black Lives Matters and sitting there, but inside you're not happy. I should have gone. I should have gone. I should have stood up for that friend of mine. You know that you're not following your Swadharma. If you are a true Vaishya, it will not bother you. I've given my money. What more do you want me to do? If you're a Brahmana, it won't bother you that you are not at the procession. All it will bother you is how I will get into the lobby to change the law. So, sense of fulfillment. It is better in Bhagavad Gita, it says it's better to die doing your Swadharma than trying to succeed doing somebody else's, copying somebody else's Swadharma, doing Paradharma. Because why is that wrong? Swadharma is Swabhava Vihita Karma is Swadharma. Swabhava is your nature. Vihita, in accordance with your nature. Accordance meaning, am I feeling like a Shudra, a Vaishya, Kshatriya, or Brahmana? In accordance with that, your actions have to be done. Swabhava Vihita Karma is Swadharma. So if you don't do that, what happens is we are born with the chitta, remember the reservoir I talked about? It's called vasanas, the coding in that chitta, the impressions you brought from other lifetimes. You feel a certain way because there is a coding inside you. It's not just random. And the whole karma yoga, the purpose of acting is to erase that coding so that you become the coder, not the coding. You will determine what the coding will be. Right now, you are acting according to your coding. Your coding is your subconscious, your vasanas in your chitta. And as long as you work according to your code without the raga dvesha, falling in the extremes, aversion and craving, then you slowly whittle away and chip away at the coding. If you don't do that, why it is so bad to act according to other people's nature and inclinations, Swadharma? You not only don't clean out your vasanas, you will pick up other people's vasanas, keep adding to it. Instead of slowly whittling away your vasanas, your coding, you add, pile on. That's how we have come here, lifetime after lifetime, trying to be something we are not and adding to the coding rather than going back to be the coder. That is why taking decisions based on your nature, your coding is slowly checking off, check. And at one point in your life, the slate will be clean. Then you can step back. I'm not the coding, I am the coder. I'm not my thoughts, I am the thinker. I choose my thoughts. The thoughts don't choose me. Right now, your thoughts choose you. You think you're free or not. And the other thing is, one of the things you can ask yourself, am I really enjoying doing this? Because when you are following your Swadharma, even if you're not paid, even if you're not recognized, even if you're never acknowledged, you will still want to do it. No matter what, you may hide and do it. That is a clue. What is your Swadharma? So decisions based on your Swadharma. And the example we gave last time was the Black Lives Matters. Same action, but the decisions will differ based on your Swadharma. Now, fifth one is decision making based on the moods of the mind. Now, we call it moods in English. In Vedanta, it is called the gunas. Tamasic, Rajasic, Sattvic. Tamasic is inertia, laziness, and that is the bull mind. We talked about Nandi, right? that lazy mind, and then Rajasic is the monkey mind, all over the place, all over the place. And Sattvic, clarity. Sattvic mind is called the eagle mind, the 360-degree view, not a narrow view of what is reality. So whenever tamasic mind is like a negativity bias, left alone, if you have never mastered, if you're working from your instinctual mind, it is prone to fear, resentment, anger, jealousy. It will happen. That's a negativity bias. Rajasic mind is the confirmation bias. Whatever you're looking for, fixing, that's what you're going to do. It's not bad. It's better than negativity. But beyond Rajasic is Sattvic, clarity, 360-degree view, not my view, the absolute truth, not even transactional truth, not personal truth, absolute truth. So Rajasic mind is agitation and action. Tamasic mind is inertia and laziness. Sattvic mind is peace and tranquility. So when you have to make a big decision, not day-to-day decision, but in whichever areas of your life and however many times you can decide from a sattvic frame of mind, your decisions will always be the right decision. Throughout the day, we go through this tamas, rajas, and sattvic on and off, we're continuously. That is why in Ayurveda and even in Chinese medicine, they have these certain times. The 24 hours is divided. Early morning is the sattvic, Brahma Muhurta. When you study, what is best in Brahma Muhurta? Studying, knowledge gaining. Then comes the Rajasic. Certain time of the day is Rajasic. Action when the sun is high in the sky. Then comes the Tamasic. And Tamasic is not always bad, because Rajasic is fight and flight. Tamasic is feed and breed. Rajasic is sympathetic nervous system. Tamasic is parasympathetic. So we have to balance between, our life goes between Rajasic and Tamasic constantly. Your effort should be to develop your sattvic state of mind, peace of mind. Remember in Bhagavad Gita, if there is no peace, there is no happiness. For peace, you need meditation. For meditation, you need steady mind. For steady mind, you have to set aside time and work on it. What is the work? Detached observer, nothing to do, just observe. So that practice has to be brought in. And before you can even be a detached observer, to come to that state, you have to chant. You have to have some control. Mantra. Man is mantra is the tool. Some tool to control your mind so that it can sit at your behest, at your command, and watch itself. So the decision making based on the moods of the mind. Whenever you are, never respond or reply or react when you're angry, Rajasic. Never promise when you're happy. And never decide when you're sad. So these are all Rajasic and Tamasic, inertia and activity. Wait to, before you have to take a big decision, that go into that meditation or prayer. In olden days, before they started school, why we had prayer sessions, whether it is Hindus or Christians or wherever, Muslims, all of them. That you are activating the sattvic mind before we get into a learning stage. But nowadays we run into school and instantly we start learning from a Rajasic point of mind or from a Tamasic point of mind. Nobody takes the moment to meditate, breathe, get clarity, 360-degree view, and then you learn. So decision should be like that. Why it is, we say that, oh, what will God do? God is not going to do anything. Besides, God is sitting inside us. We have established that, intellectually at least. But activating that God, that I will go from my personal truth, I will transcend transactional truth, I will access absolute truth. So, and in other words, it's called thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Thesis is Rajasic mind frame. This is confirmation bias. What I'm looking for, that's what I'm going to find. Everything else, I will wear a filter, I won't see anything else. So what will the decision be? Limited. Antithesis is negativity. Everybody is wrong. I am a victim, nothing, scarcity mindset, a victim mindset. So that is it. Negative spiral. Synthesis is different from thesis and antithesis, which is clarity. And that will come when you can only be a detached observer or a detached witness of your thoughts, of your mind, likes and dislikes. And for that, we've said how to get about it. And the spiritual practices, puja, we talked about prayers and breathing techniques and meditations and everything, you have to prepare the instrument. The mind is an instrument before you use it. But we get up in the morning, instantaneously we start using the mind. Why? When people come to me for personal coaching, I teach them mantras. What mantras you must say in the morning? to prepare the mind, to set the GPS. Otherwise, it will go every which way it wants to go. You can't control it. Next comes decision making, listening to the voice of conscience. Now, that language has gone, or maybe it's still in use. The morality, ethics, whatever you may call it, but conscious prick. There is something inside each of us, like that Jiminy Cricket. We know something is not right, not sitting well with us, but we do it, and we ignore that conscious to the point that it refuses to give us any clue anymore. It doesn't put a red flag saying, hey, watch, what are you doing? What are you thinking? So if a particular decision is disturbing the mind, creating guilt, examine or shame or anger or resentment, these are tamasic and rajasic moods. So you must examine your decision. Take time out. Don't be in a hurry to take that decision. And what is the test? Many people say, how do I know my conscience is right or wrong? Simple test. If the other person acted the way you're going to act now, will it be okay with you? Let's take the example of the Holocaust. With, everybody, there was this mass hysteria, and we thought that was the right thing to do. But if anybody had asked that if the roles were reversed and somebody was doing this to me, would that be okay? If it is not okay, then your decision is not okay either. So bringing that awareness. Now, yes, understand that everybody's consciousness is not at the same level. But why is it not at the same level? Because you've never given it any power. You've never listened to it. If a friend or a parent gives you advice and constantly you don't listen to it, after a while, they'll stop giving you advice. But the moment you go back to them and ask for advice, they may or may not give, but 2 or 3 times, then you start following their advice, they'll come back. It's not that your conscience has left you forever, but you will activate. In the beginning, I said, whatever part of the mind or brain you give importance to, that part will grow. So you have not given importance to your intellect and conscience. You have only given importance to your mind. I like this, I don't like this. For a change, I like this, but I will not. Janami dharmang nachame pravriti. I know what to do, but I can't do it. Do it. You may not be able to do it 100 times. Can you do it 1 out of 100 times? I know this is wrong, but I'm forced to, I cannot stop myself. Stop yourself. So that conscious, when you listen, that power, the power inside you, what is called the conscience, will keep on growing. And you turn inwards. Everybody has a conscious. We ignore it, so it doesn't give us. It gives us, but we're just tone blind, or what do they call it? Tone deaf and blind. We can't even hear it. But the minute you seek the advice, the minute you go within and say, is this right? If what I'm about to do as a mother, as a mother-in-law, as a sister, as a husband, spouse, if the other person did the same to me, would I like it? Would it be okay with me? If you're okay with it, most likely it is right. At your level, there may be many levels. So look, seek and correct with guidance. And finally comes the decision-making based when you're totally confused. None of this is working. You are either not aware or you've forgotten that your intellect is not strong enough, and you are not aware of the higher role and lower role, and you are not thinking about the beneficiary, the collect. You're only thinking about the individual, not the collective, the highest number of people. You are not either not aware or unable to follow your swadharma, or you're not aware or unable to decide, aware of the gunas and unable to decide in the sattva phase, which is the state of clarity. You're not listening to your conscious. Then what is in Mahabharata, it's called the Karpanya dosha. Exactly what happened to Arjuna when he was completely taken over by moha, disillusionment. He was, instead of acting as the general of the Pandava army, all he saw himself was in his personal role. My mother, my father, my children, my cousin, my guru, my this, my that. His swadharma he forgot, that he's a Kshatriya. He's not here as a Shudra, taking care of himself and his immediate family. Then he forgot the greatest number of good, that this war is a dharmic war. It was not for your personal ego. All the rules he forgot. What did he do? He started getting nervous. Then he dropped his bow and arrow and sat next to the chariot. These words are very powerful. When the rishis build a story and an image, no detail is just randomly put. What is the ratha? Body consciousness. And if you've listened to one of the recorded modules, that in the Hanuman Ashtakam, Angada is the body consciousness. Even Karna, He's Anga Raja. Every time Anga comes, it's body consciousness. We are so attached to the body. What is good for my body, my mind? This is called Karpanya dosha. So you don't have the ability to follow any of these parameters that are given to you. Then the only choice is seek the guide. Today's Ram Navami, seek the guidance of the inner Lord, that Lord that is sitting inside you. You can call it any name, Ram, Allah, Jesus, doesn't matter, no name, Buddha. But there is a power sitting inside you that is making you do everything. Go and connect. Ask like a child. Seek the guidance from the Lord. Please guide me. Sit down. I need guidance. Save me. I have reached the limit of my decision making. I don't know anymore what is right and wrong. You carry me. You make the decisions. And so, when you do that, something mysterious will happen. This is called Hanuman. Man is the ego. What is ego? Edged God out. What is God? That unity principle. That which pervades and orchestrates everything. But that power will not interfere with your free will, because you are given choice. You've come out of the animal living into the human to experience and express choice, freedom. Otherwise, what's the point? Go back to being an animal. That principle will make all the decision. You do your best, but there will come moments when you hit a wall, when you're painted into a corner, then you sit down. Prayer is you talking to that power, and meditation is that power talking back to you. Not literally, but giving you signs, symbols, synchronicities. Follow it. Take a leap of faith. I cannot tell you what will happen, but something mysterious will happen. Gates will open, options will appear, potentials will appear where it never was before. Because you are wearing blinders, and the universe does only one job, tathastu, so be it. Whatever you ask, like what do you call in the Google, the box where you type in your queries. Whatever you ask, that's the answer it will give. Here, you're not asking any questions. You're saying, lift all filters. You tell me what is right for me. You can't do that at every stage now, although ultimately that is the goal. You can't get up in the bed. Please tell me, should I get out of the bed or not? Every day you can't. But when you build yourself to that level, surrender completely. Your ego steps aside from your heart. And once your ego steps out, the Lord steps in. That power steps in and makes through you, consciously, intentionally invoke that power, and it will make you do things. And this is the difference. Duryodhana asked that, and Arjuna, there was a difference. What this prayer I've been telling you, Janami dharmang nachame pravriti, I know what is right, I can't do it. Janami adharmang nachame nivriti, I know what is wrong, but I can't stop. Toya hrishikesha hridi stitena, you're sitting inside my heart. Jatha nijuktosi tatha. So he is blaming the God, saying that you are the one who's making everything do. All the bad things also you're making me do. When it comes to the good things, when he wants something, he will follow the Lord. When the Lord tells him, or that power or that conscious tells him something not to do, he's not able to do it. But Arjuna didn't have that problem. He completely surrendered to the point where he always was able to follow, good or bad. You must establish that relationship with that power, that even when you've asked for something but you're not getting it, the belief, the cognitive reframing, the pratipaksha bhavna, that if I get what I ask for, great. But if I get what I don't ask for, even better. My limited mind is not orchestrating this. A bigger mind, power is orchestrating this. You must believe that. And once you do that, you have to move ahead with faith and trust. And tell the God, this doesn't look good. I know you're in control. I don't know. Please help me understand this is for my best. And then watch the miracles happen. And that is why to do that, sometimes you need a guide, a mentor, or a guru. And so recap all the making based on different parameters. First is decision making based on your intellect as opposed to your mind, likes and dislike. Instead of that, you do what is right and wrong. Second is decision making based on the roles you play. Always fulfill the decisions that may help you fulfill the responsibility of the higher role rather than the lower role. Decision make based on the beneficiary. Vyashti samesti, individual, collective, highest good for the highest number of people, even though you don't know how it will happen. All you need to do is do your role. Forget about how the collective will benefit. That's not, what will benefit the collective, do that. The next is decision making based on your swadharma. What is it that gives me peace? And also, if swadharma, then next is fifth one is decision making based on the moods of the mind, whether you are in a lazy inertia state, agitated state, or a state of clarity. 360-degree view. And we've given these animal archetypes: bull, lazy; monkey mind; and then we have the eagle, that 360-degree view. Then decision making, listening to your voice of conscious. What is the one question you ask? If I did the same, if the other person did this to me, would it be okay by me? If it's not, what you're doing is not okay. Third, last one is decision making. When you don't know what to do, you sit down and call in the big guns and pray. Pray is you're talking to that power, and meditation is that power answering you. You listen and you get whatever you get, and you do it. Take the leap of faith. So that's it for today. Decision making from a mastered mind as opposed to an instinctual mind.